How many of you have noticed that APC political party is littered with touts, agbero, men, full of dishonorable men? Have you noticed that? I want to show you a video of APC Chieftain. Guess is a secretary by the name Moka. The guy that almost beat up Rufai Oseni right at the studio the other time. I want to show you the moment this guy said Peter Obi did not participate in the Edo State election, that Peter Obi should shut up. That Peter Obi who hold Edo State to ransom. He went to campaign for his candidate. He said he should shut up on live television. This guy said all manners of all imaginable words. If you hear it, you listening to him, me listening to it was as if I should throw up. But no, let's just be sincere. Before we watch the video, please, just be sincere. I don't want you to be biased. Haven't you noticed that APC political party is full of Agberos? Make I call them Agberos because of Kubak. Full of literally bandits. That's my observation though. But please, what's your take? Let's watch the video. Please don't forget to like. Please share it until the world see. Do you understand? The crops, the littered APC political party. God bless you.
Let's use your word commitment. You said everyone was committed to making sure that you won that election. Now the election is in contest. Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 presidential election, Mr. Peter Obi, calls it a mockery of democracy. The Labour Party candidate, Mr. Olumide Akpata, said it was transactional. You know, there were so many allegations of vote buying. The PDP says it's heading to court because it does not agree with what transpired, allegations of tampering of results. What's your take on all of these reactions that have followed this victory that you are celebrating?
Now, first of all, Peter Obi is obviously, I think everyone who bothers with Nigeria's politics knows that Peter Obi is a serial complainer. He will not accept the result of any election that is not in his favor or in favor of candidates that he supports. He's done that since the 2023 election. Peter Obi has been a consistent denier of that election, and now he has a new pet project to deny the Edo election. We don't reckon with Peter Obi because he wasn't a candidate in Edo, and he was not a voter. So whatever he thinks of that election is absolutely irrelevant. He can speak all he wants. That's up to him. About those who were contestants in the election. Now I think that Olumide Akpata and Asue Ighodalo, they have legitimate interests in that election. So if they are not satisfied with the outcome of that election, they must do what they must do, which is to take this matter to court and go there to prove the allegations that they are bandying around right now, because that's what they're doing. They're simply throwing a lot of things, unsubstantiated allegations. When an election is done, yes, psychologically people are wounded because you went into it to win. So when you don't win, understandably you can be sore. But I think that I have not listened to any of them articulate or furnish any sort of reasonable evidence of all of the high-sounding allegations that they make. And it's not enough to throw those things out there. When you get to court, it's not about the headlines. You must break down the headlines into credible, realistic evidence before the courts to support your argument that you won the election or that there was some foul play or some manipulation as they allege. So, we're not bothered by that. When they go to court, we will of course meet them in court and also present our side of the story. And that's the beauty of democracy. He who alleges must prove. You can't make allegations that you are not able or willing to prove. So I hope that as they're talking, they're also spending time, probably more time, to actually marshal the evidence so that they can present that, and the courts are constitutionally empowered to adjudicate these issues. That's so for them. I will, say, you know what, if they want to go to court, of course they're very well welcome to do that. But Peter B needs to simply just, shut down, because this is not his business.
Right. Go to court has become a common line in Nigeria, and it seems that our courts have become the major decider of elections. Are you happy with that? And the elections are becoming highly litigious. It's expensive, first of all. It overburdens the judicial system, and some people do not have confidence in the courts, in the sense that they think some of the judges are credibility challenged. So you can imagine why people prefer that elections are concluded at the polls and they do not have to be dragged. Plus, it is time consuming as well.
No, all of those are excellent points that you make. But even in families, when two siblings disagree, they go to their parents to, plead their case and to, because see, I don't think this idea, I hear this, quite a lot. I'm a lawyer, and I don't, really think that it's such a great idea to suggest that the courts are simply almost like, some meddlesome interlopers in election cases. No, they are legitimate creations of law for a reason. Because, an election that involves hundreds of thousands of millions of voters with agencies charged with the duty of monitoring that election, any one or a combination of factors can go wrong. And when they go wrong, thank God for the courts. That's why the judicial arm is a branch of government, is the third arm of government, following the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Is not an afterthought. So when in a democracy you have an election and there's a dispute, Nigerians should learn to understand that courts are there, not just for the elections, they're there for everything. If I buy land from you and it goes wrong, or we do business, it goes wrong, we should go to the court. I shouldn't, come after you to start to punch you because I'm stronger. No, we cannot resort to that, primordial, mode of, settling disputes. The courts are there. These candidates who lost the election, if they choose to take advantage of their legal rights, to explore recourse mechanisms that the courts offer, they should do so. And whatever the outcome may be, we all should be prepared to accept that as a legitimate, part and parcel of the electoral process. The courts are a part of the electoral process. If the authority that jurisdiction is, invoked, they must be enabled to adjudicate and settle that dispute. Because otherwise, what are the options? Take to the streets?
But
I think not.
But can you see why people would prefer that we do not drag ourselves through the courts because of the time that it takes? I mean, the so-called Western democracy that Nigeria and a lot of African countries practice, when you go to those places, majority of the election cases do not end up in court. So is your part, are you worried about this? Is your party worried about this? Is it more important to go to court than to have transparent elections from the beginning?
But Constance, see, the problem actually is not so much about the process of election or what the umpires do or don't do. The real problem, I think, that resides in the nature, in human nature, especially in our own sort of, if you will, historic experience as a country in our own democracy. People just don't know how to accept defeat. Now, think about it. Every time that, say, Labour Party or the PDP wins an election, they celebrate the judiciary. They hail INEC and they hail, everything about the election. How come every time they lose, there is this same, uproar? So the problem is not that people go to court. The problem is just the unwillingness of some contestants and parties to accept what is so self-evident, that they lost election. For instance, Peter B has just called it state capture. Now, where does Akpata, who came, not almost like an infinitely remote third?
Can I also add that the observers also wrote their reports and also faulted some of what
Are you
happened.
referring to Yaga Africa?
So it's not only
What observers? Yaga Africa?
It's not only Yaga Africa was not civil society organization. There were so many observers on that election. So it's not only the politicians.
No, you see, now let me say this. I am one of the, if you will, veteran leaders of civil society. That's my background. So I am familiar with that sector. That's my sector. Spent, this is going to 36, 37 years in that sector. Now, and I have a lot of respect for my colleagues who are, in the sector. But the point is, in every situation, you have clear delineation of mandate. When you, as an election observer, accredited by INEC, not by yourself, you didn't just go into the election, you were accredited by INEC with a clear mandate to perform in that election. When you go beyond your mandate to start to meddle in matters that don't concern you, that actually verge on the edges of the statutory authority of INEC, to begin to declare results or second guess the result declared by the statutory body, now you begin to cut a different program altogether. Your intervention at that point should be frowned upon by any right-thinking person. Because if INEC declares result A and a civil society organization, by whatever name called, declares result B, what you do, you send this mixed signal, and some of the people at home are not as discerning to be able to say, what, this is INEC with all the powers, therefore let's focus on INEC. No, you create this confusion. And I think that's what some of these entities are doing. And today I issued a statement responding specifically to Yaga Africa to say, look, you are beyond your call of duty. Your duty is to observe the elections. If you have any concern or you noticed anything or observed anything, that's why it's called observation. You are not an election manager like INEC. INEC is the only sole statutory election manager in this country. And whatever result they've declared, there's only one other body that has the power to review it. That is judicial review. Those are the courts that have the authority to review what INEC has done. It is not, liable to, Yaga Africa or anybody else to review that. You can say what you want, but you're speaking to the air. Only those actions taken through the judicial system are able to begin to interrogate, what INEC has done. And if in the end, the courts make decisions one way or the other,
Right.
as we've shown with decisions that have come even against our party, we've been, completely, I think, submissive to the rule of law,
Right.
to respect that.